There, today I'm going to be talking about the Florida Guardian Advocate process, but no one really wants to watch a 3-minute video of a talking head lawyer. So I'm going to tell you a little story about my friend Katie, and then I'm going to fill you in on some guardianship details while you watch some really fun video that I found. Sound good? So meet my beautiful friend Katie. She's 30, she has a developmental disability, and she's pretty independent. Most days after her day program, she lets herself into her family home where she lives with her mom and dad. One afternoon, a door-to-door salesman rang the doorbell. Katie answered the door and let the person into their home. Now, Katie's dad was in the driveway. He was finishing up a work call in his car, and he saw what was going on. He rushed in and confronted the salesperson, who said to him indignantly, "Well, the lady of the home invited me in." Katie's mom, Laura, had been putting off getting guardianship for Katie. She thought about it, but it seemed that life's complexities seemed to always get in the way. But the incident with the salesperson changed things. What if Katie, who's very trusting, made some long-term financial commitment to the salesperson, or worse? It was the inspiration Laura needed to finally get guardianship to protect Katie. If your child has a developmental disability and they're close to turning 18, I'm guessing you already know that you have to at least explore getting guardianship as one of the options to protect your son or daughter. Maybe that's how you found this article. But few parents really understand why we need to take a look at guardianship. I'm going to be exploring that in this video and tell you a little bit about an expedited way for you to get guardianship in Florida. When your child's born, you as a parent have what's known as natural guardianship, which means that you have the right to make any and all major decisions for your child. This includes things like consenting to medical treatment, entering into contracts, and getting married. But in Florida, when a child turns 18, they reach what's referred to as the age of majority. So notwithstanding your child's disability, he or she gains almost all of the legal rights that adults have, and your rights to make decisions for them ends. With these rights comes the consequences of potentially getting sued in court, or being prosecuted as an adult for crimes, or accepting the consequences of denying any medical care. So despite the fact that you've cared for your child since their birth, according to the law, after their 18th birthday, you'll need an order from a court from a guardianship proceeding to continue making decisions about their health, welfare, and finances. So in my story, if Katie made an expensive commitment to a traveling salesperson, she'd be responsible for fulfilling the terms of that contract or risk getting sued. If you get guardianship over your child, you obtain the right of substitute judgment. That is, the ability to make all decisions for your child if they were competent to make the decisions on their own. What this really means is that you're regaining the right to do for your child what you probably have been doing all along. But getting guardianship is a serious process and requires an exhaustive filing and the assembly of an examining panel that determines whether a person is incompetent. Plus, you're required to hire a lawyer. But if your child has a developmental disability, in Florida, you can obtain guardianship through an expedited proceeding called guardian advocacy. Are you still with me? Guardian advocate has the same exact rights that you'd have in a traditional guardianship, but with a more streamlined process. Under the guardian advocate program, a decision about competency is based on a medical diagnosis. No examining committee is appointed and no written findings are drafted. A judge can use an educational evaluation or IEP to determine what responsibilities you will have as a guardian advocate. The best part is, unlike traditional guardianship, there's no requirement to be represented by a lawyer if you're not managing property other than your child's government assistance payments. Now, the guardian advocate forums can be intimidating, and there are many of them, so there's still some value in working with a lawyer, or at the very least, getting a consultation from someone who's familiar with the process. It'll help you avoid mistakes, delays, and probably some unnecessary stress. Also, using a comprehensive guide is highly recommended. Under the Guardian Advocate statute, your child will need their own attorney who's appointed by the court. Depending on when you file and the assets owned by your child, you may be responsible for this cost, your child could be responsible for this cost, or you may qualify for a fee waiver. In all, becoming a guardian advocate is a reasonably streamlined process that could take about 4 months to complete. Once approved, the judge will give you letters that will describe exactly what legal rights that you have. You'll bring these letters with you whenever you make decisions on behalf of your child, like if you go to the bank or a doctor's office. Afterwards, you'll have some additional obligations, including taking a guardianship course, filing an accounting of your child's assets, and filing annual reports with the judge. After becoming guardian advocate, it's pretty much business as usual. In reality, most parents report that once they get their letters,
not much changes with respect to the care of their child. Now, to the extent possible, most parents still have their child participate in all decisions that they make on their behalf, and there's very little extra to do to stay in good standing with the court. As for my friends Katie and Laura, the scare with a traveling salesperson was enough to motivate them to file the paperwork for guardianship. Laura had most of the paperwork prepared already by a family member who was a paralegal, but it turned out that for her family situation, it made more sense to hire an attorney to guide them through the process. And Laura now has guardianship over Katie, and both are doing great.